Alonso cracks one deep toward the left field corner. It's out of here! Scooter and the big man bust the city in half.
Back is Marisnik and is gone. Aaron Judge goes deep.
You're listening to the Sports Dream.
Hot pass, Jared Allen. It's a dunk-a-thon.
Great feed, hammered down by Barrett.
With your hosts, Ryan Thompson.
Barzell on it again. Gets free of Joseph. Dangles in, shoots, save made by Wondolowski. They score!
Capo is in and scores! The first National Hockey League goal for Capo.
I'm Joe Sapienza.
Jones steps up, takes off, he's in! Touchdown! Has it taken away by Jamal Adams, and he is in for a Jets touchdown! He stripped the ball from Daniel Jones.
We'll be debating the hottest topics in New York sports.
What's up, everybody? It's a new school semester. It is January. We are back. This is the Sports Dream. I am Ryan Thompson alongside Joe Sapienza. As always, we are back to talk to you about what is going on in the New York sports world. And some good, a lot of bad.
A lot of bad.
A lot of bad right now. That's for sure. But let's kick it off first and go with some of the non-active teams at the moment. And let's start off. It's been a while since we've talked.
Yeah, it's great seeing you.
The Mets and the Yankees have both had some prolific things go on in the offseason. Also, some good and some just
prolific is an understatement. as to what
what's going
what this team does to us.
We are talking about the Mets, of course, because we are both absolutely psychotic Mets fans. Let's go with the Yankees first, because this was one of the obvious biggest things we talked about before we went on break in December. Yankees needed to get their guy.
They did.
And they did. They got Garrett Cole.
They don't have an excuse now.
They don't have any excuse whatsoever. The Yankees are built to win, are they ever not built to win? Outside of winning the World Series, which, we are now in 2020, and the Yankees just went through their first full decade, a full 10 years.
No World Series appearances.
No World Series appearances.
And this is an argument that I will make to Yankee fans. This Mets core that we have right now with Conforto, Noah Syndergaard, Jacob deGrom, Steven Matz, all these young guys. Well, not young anymore, but you get what I'm saying.
They're still relatively, most of them, yeah.
Brandon Nimmo, too. We can throw him in there. All those guys have seen and played in a World Series, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Judge.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Sanchez. Gleyber Torres. All these guys, they haven't played in a World Series yet.
Yeah, no.
So I think that's kind of ironic.
Yeah, right.
They came close, obviously, with the whole Astros scandal.
Yeah, that came out, yeah. Which affected the Mets, obviously.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second. But the Yankees have their man. I mean, he obviously, Garrett Cole, we know what he's done the last couple of years. Signed, what was it, 300 and...
It was a lot of money.
327 over the next...
It was something
12 years, 13 years or something?
I don't know specifically, but...
I forget. No, maybe, what was it, not 9 years?
But...
Something like that. He's
going to be a Yankee a long time.
Yeah. He's 29 right now. I think he's under contract with the Yankees until he's like 42 or something like that. But he gives them their workhorse, and now the only thing they really need to consider over the next few years is what they're going to do with everybody else. Obviously, Aaron Judge is probably going to get paid. Big
they need
time
to extend him.
Big time money.
Right.
But then that locks up. You think about Giancarlo Stanton had that 220 whatever
7 years he got, right? I
from
think it was 7.
From the Marlins that is now on the books for the Yankees. You're going to pay Aaron Judge probably northward of $250 million. You're paying Garrett Cole however much it was, 327-ish, something like that. That's a lot of money for 3 players. Like, now, I know it's the Yankees. They've never had any kind of shortage of money. But they got decisions to make on some of these other guys.
So you just named Judge, Cole, and who was the last one?
Stanton.
And Giancarlo Stanton. They have to do something with Gleyber Torres, too.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he's under contract for exactly.
I think he's entering arbitration. He may have like 3 years or so left, 3 or 4. Gary Sanchez, I think, has like 2, maybe.
Okay, so they have some time. They have some time for those boys, but that's something that has to be on the back of their minds as well. Like,
yeah,
all this money needs to be divided
somehow,
some way.
Yeah.
Gleyber Torres is arguably the Yankees' best player. Arguably. I know you can make the case for Aaron Judge because, he's like the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
But
at the same time,
I love Gleyber Torres.
Yeah,
man.
but at the same time, Aaron Judge is 6'7". If he's not hitting home runs, that would be the issue. Like,
right.
It should be expected that a guy that's 6'7", built the way he is, should be hitting 45+ home runs a season.
But the problem with that is, and we saw it last year, right? He had a great rookie year. It was phenomenal. 52 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
He's so big and lengthy. We've seen it with his obliques.
Yeah.
We've seen it with his...
He dealt with some injuries last year.
His hamstrings. And you really have to think about this guy and his ability to stay on the baseball field.
Yeah.
That's his priority. Because if he stays on the field, man, and he's healthy, he's a beast.
He's hitting the cover off the ball.
He's an animal.
Because you figure, I know, I think we were talking to one of your friends, something that I know the Yankees do have a couple prospects in the minors that, they could let Gary Sanchez walk, which honestly I don't think would really be a bad idea for them because, Gary Sanchez is going to hit home runs, but he doesn't hit for average. His, defense behind the plate is kind of suspect. Yeah, we know he's got a great arm, but it's kind of, are you really going to want to pay him what he might be asking for? Like, what's he going to be asking for? $15 million a season, maybe more? Are you really going to want to pay that to a guy who doesn't necessarily have the best hands behind the plate sometimes?
He has a great arm, though. That's a very good arm.
And is going to hit, he'll hit 30 home runs, but he's going to hit 220?
If that. He can barely hit his weight.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, if they have another catching prospect waiting in the wings, all right, maybe you let him walk. DJ LeMahieu's not going to be there, that much longer. He is signed through 2020. Could they sign him for another couple years? Yeah, maybe. But he's getting up to, 35. He can still play, but at the same time...
It's something to think about.
Who else do they have? Gleyber Torres, Gio Urshela. Who else was there?
They signed Brett Gardner for a year.
Yeah. Brett Gardner's getting old, so they're, Aaron Hicks, can he actually stay healthy ever?
That's
for
the problem.
Once in his career.
The thing is with the Yankees, they like the sexy move. You know what I'm saying? Like the sexy name, like a Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
Giancarlo Stanton. And so far, the Giancarlo Stanton move, in my opinion, has not panned out.
Yeah, not really. They thought it was going to. Yeah.
Going to be, exactly. Because Stanton, the year he had in Miami, what was it, 59 homers, right?
I don't remember.
Insane.
Yeah,
it was something
ridiculous.
like that,
yeah.
right? He came close to 60. But I think this year is a big year for him. I think so, personally.
And he's another one that's got to stay healthy. He was hurt a lot last year, too.
Him and Aaron Judge are built the same, man.
They are. They're
both freight trains.
Yeah. And, who's going to be playing first base for them this year?
I think it should be, they should move Stanton and play.
That's what, I've heard people saying that, because Luke Voit, I'm pretty sure, is gone. He was a free agent that I don't think they were going to re-sign.
Okay.
Greg Bird, I think, is on the outs.
Yeah, Greg Bird.
So who else do they have? LeMahieu? Can play first.
We've seen LeMahieu play first.
We've seen LeMahieu play like all over the infield.
He's everywhere.
And who else do they have? They had somebody else too.
Oh, what's his name?
Shortstop, right? Or is that Torres?
Mike Ford, where does he play?
I don't remember.
You have Talkman and Mike Ford. These two clowns that come in. It's so annoying. Last year was really irritating because obviously I'm a Mets fan. I want to see the Yankees lose. But talking unbiased, and talking impartial, they had so many injuries throughout the year.
They did.
And they just continued to win with these clowns, with Mike Talkman, with Mike Ford, with Cameron Maybin.
It was like 39 years old.
Cameron Maybin caught the final out at Shea Stadium.
Yeah.
In 2008. And this man is playing for the Yankees in 2019 and succeeding. It makes zero sense. I don't understand it. It I don't know.
I don't know. But they're definitely a built to win now type of team.
That's the point.
And honestly, with everything that's gone on going into 2020, I don't see why they're the favorites to come out of the American League. After what happened with the Red Sox, Alex Cora banned for life, I think it is.
Something like that.
He's gone.
Yeah.
AJ Hinch and the Astros GM out.
Hinch is done for the year.
Yeah,
Right.
but they also fired him.
Right.
And so what are the Astros going to look like? Yeah, the players are still there, but without a decent manager, what's.
It's not only that. Obviously, a manager is incredibly important, but we don't know because obviously we know about like the whole cheating scandal, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit. We'll brush about it.
Brush up. Because it affects the next team. We're gonna talk about the Mets a little bit,
right? But we don't know how much they were cheating in specifically this past season.
Mm-hmm.
There's been videos on Facebook and Twitter
everywhere. Yeah. People have
news.
been going crazy about the whole Altuve
home run against Chapman.
Wearing the buzzer under his uniform, and it's wild.
Real quick, I do have a theory about that. He came out and said it wasn't a buzzer. He said there was nothing under he said that he didn't have a buzzer under his jersey.
Yeah.
I think he had something under his jersey, it just wasn't a buzzer. So technically he wasn't lying when he said,
of course.
It's not
yeah.
I didn't have a buzzer under my jersey, but he had something else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows? Because people are calling for the Red Sox and the Astros to relinquish their World Series trophies and stuff now too.
The LA City Council, they've been getting a petition to give the Dodgers the 2000 the last two World Series they were in, so 17 and 18, to give them their titles.
Wow. Okay. That's I don't know about going that far. To me, that's a little far, but
yeah, I don't really know.
I don't know about that, but yeah. Like I said, I don't think to see any reason now with Garrett Cole, Severino can stay healthy, James Paxton as their number 3,
which is solid,
which is good,
but you don't know what you're gonna get from him.
Yeah, he's a little up and down, but again, as your number 3,
it's expected.
Okay. I would take it.
I would say he's their Steven Matz, if you will.
Exactly, because sometimes he'll go 3 innings and give up 6 runs, but then other times you'll see him go 6 2/3, give up 1 run. So as your number number 3, I think James Paxton fits that role well. Obviously, we know Domingo Germán got the suspension. I don't think it was for the whole season. I think it might have been half the season, 81 games, I believe.
He'll be back when
at second half of the year,
right when the Yankees need him. So that'll be a good asset to have for them.
We'll see, but at this point, I don't see why the Yankees aren't the favorites to come out of the American League in 2020.
I completely agree with you. I think on paper, looking at their roster from top to bottom, they have the best team. They have the best group of players. They have the most talent.
Aaron
Boone's the man. Personally, I think he's a pretty decent manager.
Yeah.
It all comes down to not only if Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge can stay on the field, but it's late in games, specifically if the bullpen can be competent, if they could get outs, and
which they have in the past,
right? If the big boys, the
Chapman,
Aroldis Chapman, obviously they lost Betances.
Yeah,
let's go Mets. Zach Britton is still there.
Britton.
Chad Green.
Yep.
All these reliable guys.
Adam Ottavino.
the former Rocky.
Rocky,
You know,
yeah.
all these guys, they've proven that they could be reliable in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they just need to go out and take it.
Yeah.
That's all they could do at this point. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they just
go out and take
They
it.
just got to go out and do it.
And if they underachieve,
Yeah. What are you going to do?
because their window is closing.
Yeah. Just one more bit of news on the Yankees, or former Yankee, as it is. And, I mean, is it big news? Yeah, but, and I'm not trying to really be rude because I'm a Mets fan. I'm just thinking in terms of this was something that was 110,000% expected. Derek Jeter got elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yes, congratulations to him. He's one of the greatest players to ever step on a baseball field. Absolutely. I just,
Completely agree.
to me personally, again, not that it's because I'm a Mets fan I'm trying to hate. It's just because, come on, look, you hear the name Derek Jeter, even baseball fans, non-baseball fans know who this guy is.
Tiger Woods,
Like,
LeBron
yeah,
James, like
type of
those kind of caliber of players.
Mount Rushmore of sports athletes.
Right.
Like, so was it ever expected that he wouldn't get elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Yeah, people that are like
No.
surprised.
Yeah, no. There is no surprise in this at all.
I understand it's a story, right?
It is,
Like he's
but-
a Hall of Famer. That's
yeah.
phenomenal.
But it was obvious.
It's Derek Jeter.
It's Derek Jeter.
Like, what are we talking about
yeah,
here?
the only question was he going to be the second unanimous? Which, he was not. One person did not vote for him. 99.7%.
I kind of think that's funny, though. I'm not going to lie. I think that's hilarious. That
But-
there's one clown out there
Yeah,
that
that
doesn't
didn't-
think
that
Derek
didn't-
Jeter should be a Hall of Famer. Like, are you kidding? Have you been watching baseball the past 20 years?
20 years, right?
How many World Series has he won?
Yeah, how many was it? It was
What? From when did he get in the league? 90? Was it 97?
something like that. It was a long time ago.
So all those championships they won in the 90s, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
97, 98, 99, 2000. I know there was one in between that they didn't win.
Yeah.
And then obviously 2009. 4 or 5 championships
At
that Derek
least.
Jeter has won.
At least. If not, maybe a couple more than that.
Like, I understand. Because some people say Derek Jeter's overrated, and maybe we can make that argument towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
Because but that's every player,
But that's,
though.
yeah.
That's
When
just
he's
how it goes.
39 years old, you're not going to be playing.
He's not going to be hitting 330.
Yeah,
you know?
up to the same standards you were when you were 24 in your prime. It's just not going to happen. But over the course of his career, come on now. Like, yeah.
It's funny.
He was going to make the Hall of Fame, obviously.
I kind of want to know who said no. Like, who was the
Yeah,
wise
who was
guy?
the one guy that said no?
It has to be a joke or something. Like,
Something.
who doesn't think that Derek Jeter shouldn't be in the Baseball Hall of Fame? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
bro.
But,
Crazy.
nonetheless, obviously good for him. Even though, like I said, we knew it was going to happen. There was no question that it wasn't. And honestly, if he hadn't made it into the Hall of Fame, that would have been a bigger story than him making it
Exactly.
to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because people would have been shitting their pants
Essentially,
if
right.
it didn't happen. That's how obvious it was that it was going to happen.
You knew he was going to be in the Hall of Fame. It was just a matter of when.
When?
That's
First
what
ballot,
the question
pretty
was.
much,
Exactly.
was definitely, yeah. I mean, we pretty much knew he was going to be a Hall of Famer, I don't know, 6 years before he retired.
Yeah.
At that, so
It's no contest.
no contest.
He started every other All-Star game at shortstop for the American League.
Over his entire career.
You know, I mean, his nickname is the captain, for Christ's sake. You know, like, crazy.
Well, let's go across the New York City,
Oh, God.
over to Queens, Flushing Meadows, to the New York Mets.
LGM.
We do have some good. We do. We do have some good. Mets went into the offseason yet again, knowing they needed pitching depth. Starting pitching and bullpen, they addressed those needs. Signed Michael Wacha, signed Rick Porcello.
2 deals I like.
2 deals I love. Because these are guys who, all right, had down seasons last year, but Rick Porcello, 2016 Cy Young Award winner.
It's great. Won the World Series with the Red Sox. He's a proven winner.
Michael Wacha was
Won the
the
World Series
ace
with
of the
St. Louis.
Cardinals staff
Yeah.
before he dealt with some injuries the last year or two. If these guys could get back to even like almost that form, think about, you could almost realistically say the Mets would be running out an ace every single game. Jacob deGrom, 2-time reigning Cy Young Award winner. Syndergaard, if he could,
he's been working
tweak
out a lot. I don't know
tweak back. Yeah,
if you've seen, but he's been working on his core.
Yep.
He's in explosive
yeah,
exercises and workouts, and that's what he should be doing instead of bench pressing and trying to gain muscle mass.
Yeah. Syndergaard, if he could tweak things back to where he was a couple years ago, figure he could be considered an ace.
Absolutely.
Marcus Stroman was the ace of the Toronto
Blue
staff.
Jays for years. He's considered an ace, no doubt about that.
Again, Michael Wacha. Well, actually, no, maybe not former ace of the Cardinals because they had Adam Wainwright, but could almost, be on that cusp. Rick Porcello on that cusp of that.
Definitely. If not an ace, both those guys you just named are number 2 starters.
Yeah.
If not ace.
And they're going to be 4 and 5 on the Mets staff.
And then obviously you have a
Steven Matz who could, spot start if you need. He's going to be fighting for a rotation spot. Maybe he has one, after spring training.
He has to be thinking about that now, too.
Or maybe he starts the year in the bullpen and, something. Who knows?
Obviously, he'll make the team. It's just a matter of what role he's going to play.
And, biggest thing with this now, that keeps Lugo and Gesellman in the bullpen, which I know Lugo wants, the rotation spot, but with his situation too, he's got the partial tear, UCL tear in his elbow. I feel like keeping him in the bullpen and limiting his innings that way is the best way to avoid him getting hurt.
Seth Lugo is an 8th inning, 9th inning guy. Maybe he'll close games, but he is meant. His stuff is meant to be thrown in late in games.
Yeah.
Because he's that effective.
Because he can open up that fastball now, which, when he was starting, he was throwing his fastball 94.
93, 94.
93, 94.
Even less than that. But
in the bullpen, a lot of times he sticks around that 93, 94.
Get a little extra.
But if he's going for an out pitch, he climbs that ladder. He starts throwing 96.
97.
97.
98.
Yeah.
He can get up there.
With that curveball, ooh.
And this is what I want to address as well, real quick. Have you been watching MLB Network a little bit or been keeping tabs about what they've been saying about the Mets?
No, not really.
Okay, well, these guys, Mad Vasgersian, Harold Reynolds, all these guys, Ron Darling, they say that the Mets could have one of the best bullpens in baseball in 2020.
They could.
But this is what I say. I say to that. Have they been watching the past year? The Mets didn't make the postseason. They missed by 3 games because of their bullpen.
Because of the bullpen. It's a lot of, almost kind of like speculation and possibilities.
Ron, their bullpen was historically bad.
It was.
Talking about.
But the way they're seeing it is they signed Betances.
Right.
Dellin Betances came over from the Yankees, now with the Mets. Lugo was great. Justin Wilson, if he can stay healthy, he was very effective for the Mets down the stretch last year. Gesellman, if he can stay healthy and get back to where he was in 2018 when he was doing good in the bullpen. And it's pretty much
he killed us.
Can Edwin Diaz bounce back and have any kind of better season than he did last year? I'm not talking about getting all the way back to where he was a couple years ago with the Mariners. I'm just saying better.
To be somewhat effective. To get hitters out.
Yeah, I'm talking he had what? Like a 5.5 ERA last year?
Horrible.
Dropped that down to a 3.8.
I'll take that. But the point is,
something.
These guys are saying that the Mets could have the best bullpen, this and that. I mean, yes, they could.
They could.
And they should, but they're not. They're not because they're the Mets, okay? This bullpen from last year was historically garbage.
Yeah.
It was like the worst bullpen since 1964. They
Yep.
won 40 games that year.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how bad they were. The New York Mets missed the postseason because of their bullpen.
Because of their bullpen.
That's it.
That's it. Plain and simple.
Ay.
5 games is realistically all they need. An extra 5 wins is all they could have needed.
I mean, you close out 2 of those games against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That ridiculous game against Washington.
Oh, Kurt Suzuki, that game.
The Kurt Suzuki game.
Yeah.
Give me at least remember Gene Segura hit a walk-off against Edwin Diaz? Give us that game back.
Something. And
I don't know.
What was the one game I saw a video? I was watching a video on YouTube recently. I don't know. Was it the Kurt Suzuki game? Maybe was that the game they gave up like a 6-run lead in the 9th?
That was
For
beginning of September.
Paul Sewald.
Paul Sewald, that name.
He was him. He was the one pitching, and then Diaz came in and
Listen, if Paul Sewald is in spring training with the Mets, that is a crime.
Mm-hmm.
That is a crime. He has been horrible.
Awful.
I don't care if he's a nice guy. He sucks.
He does.
He sucks.
He's awful.
Get him out.
Awful.
Oh, my God.
Ugh.
The Paul Sewalds, the Tyler Bashlers. Keep them away from us, man. I mean, for Christ's sake.
Yep.
What else do you need to see, though? Like in all seriousness.
Yeah, really, yeah.
What
What
else?
else do you need to see? They haven't hit their stride yet? No, come on. Especially Sewald's been around for 3 or 4 years now. If he hasn't shown effectiveness yet, it ain't gonna happen. It's not.
Funny enough,
Not gonna happen.
I thought this was hilarious, and you'll get a kick out of this. So with the Astros cheating scandal, there was a video that came out. Obviously, there's a million of them.
Oh,
you could
yeah.
hear the garbage can and everything like
Yeah.
that. This was in 2017. The Mets were playing the Astros, and you could hear the garbage can in the background. And Chris Flexen was on the mound, right? And he threw a hanging curveball to George Springer, and Springer launched it 500 feet, and it was absolutely a bomb. But the point is, people were trying to defend Chris Flexen on Twitter, right? Saying that if the Astros didn't cheat, maybe Chris Flexen's ERA wouldn't be as bad, as high. And my argument to that is Chris Flexen is
Not that good.
is garbage.
He's not that good.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
He
Trying to defend Chris Flexen? Stop.
No. The only one out of that entire group that I have a little hope for, that I do kind of like a little bit, is Walker Lockett. That was
I think
it.
there's hope for him.
He's
there's
decent.
hope for him.
All the rest of them, what was it? Bashler, Sewald, Flexen. Who else was there?
Drew Gagnon?
Drew Gagnon.
Gagnon?
No. Just
That was horrible. That game against the Giants, 16-inning game. I watched every inning.
the only other one maybe that I haven't quite seen enough of is was the kid Chris Mazza, who came up with them late.
He annoyed me too.
He didn't do well, but again,
I think he's gone though. I think the Red Sox picked him up.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh well, all right then.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Well, let's get into the bigger news for the New York Mets. They have yet another new manager.
The second of the offseason.
The second of the offseason, which, okay, they signed Carlos Beltran. That was great. Everybody was excited for him. One of the great baseball minds, ever, realistically. Wanted to see what he could do. Then the whole cheating scandal came out. And at the very least, I'll say this. At the very least, the Mets, in my opinion, went about it the right way. They didn't just get pissed off and fire him right off the bat and whatever else, despite the fact that MLB did not discipline Carlos Beltran because he was a player in 2017 when this happened, and they did not discipline any players. The Mets gave it a few days, talked to him, had a couple meetings with him, sat down, and agreed to mutually part ways. So in that regard, at the very least, I will say that I believe the Mets went about things the right way. It sucks because now the Mets have hired Luis Rojas, who I'm kind of on the fence about. I know you were saying that, the players are excited about him. He's been in the Mets organization for a few years. Let's hope it works out. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But spring training is, a few weeks away. Pitchers and catchers are reporting in less than 20 days now, I think, right? 19, yeah. So he's got to get in there quick and get the ball rolling, get that ship sailing, and let's see what the Mets can do.
I think with the whole Luis Rojas signing, personally, on paper, you look at it and you think to yourself, who the hell is Luis Rojas?
Yeah.
Personally, if it was up to me, Buck Showalter,
Yeah.
Dusty Baker, a manager that has experience in the postseason of getting to a World Series and winning.
Yeah.
Because that's the goal if the Mets, didn't know.
Yeah, in case they didn't know.
But the upside about this signing, because, there's no point of being negative, he has been in the system since 2007.
Yeah.
Guys like Brandon Nimmo, I was just telling
Pete Alonso,
Ryan,
Jeff
Alonso,
McNeil,
Jeff,
Conforto,
Michael Conforto,
Have
the pitchers too.
Yeah.
DeGrom,
DeGrom.
Syndergaard, all these guys that have been in the Mets minor league system, they're familiar with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Rosario, probably.
Ahmed Rosario.
Yeah.
And personally, they're all happy about it. And you never really see that, like players commenting about a manager hire before.
Yeah.
They're not very outspoken about it on Twitter.
Yeah, like they'll say something, but it's usually just like,
or like, let's go out and get him,
Yeah.
like something small to pump up
Yeah.
the fans. But this is different, I feel like. They're genuinely happy this guy's running the team, right?
yeah.
Would you say so?
I haven't really seen it, but from, I would trust your judgment. And
After the show, I'll show you, man. And it's really, I hate saying the word hope because it's what they do to us every year.
every single year.
But I can't say, like, it's pretty optimistic right now. It's looking good.
Yeah.
And you can't really say that as a Mets fan. They have a decent team.
Yeah. Think about if, Cano can stay healthy. That'd be
They
huge.
stay healthy. They could win.
90 plus.
It's not far-fetched to say that they can't win 90 games.
Yeah.
The over and under was 86.5 wins.
Mhm.
That was the over-under.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso, I think SNY tweeted that, and they put it on Facebook too. I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw it. Pete Alonso retweeted it with a comment, right? And he said, 86 wins? Come on now. Expecting them
Yeah.
to really play well.
Yeah.
And to achieve great things in 2020, which is it's what I expect. I expect this team, this core of players, to stay on the field and to finally get to that next level and get to the World Series again. Because they should have done it in 2016.
Yeah.
Connor Gillespie, that was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously no offense to Madison Bumgarner.
He threw a great game.
Threw an amazing game. But, yeah, Connor Gillespie, that was the downfall of Jerry's Familia. Connor freaking Gillespie. Like,
that was
come on.
horrible.
Oh,
That was horrible.
that was terrible.
Wow, that was like a gut punch.
Yeah,
But there's hope.
there is.
2017, 2018, going into both those seasons, there were a lot of injuries and it fell apart early, and
It
you
did,
knew it was
yeah.
done by July.
Oh, yeah.
And you were already looking towards, football.
Yeah, towards the future.
This past season, we had exciting August
And September.
baseball,
Yeah.
which we haven't seen since my freshman year
Yeah.
at Monmouth. Right?
2016.
2016, man.
Yep.
I really think 2020 this team can put it all together. I don't expect Pete Alonso to just suddenly hit a drop,
No.
and to hit 220 and and to
literally
hit half
Yeah.
the amount of home runs he hit in 2019, 53 homers. I don't think he's going to hit that many again.
Yeah,
but
I would expect
40.
265 and 40
homers.
45.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I-
100 RBI.
Jeff McNeil's a hitter. He's going
Yeah.
to hit over 300.
He's gonna hit over 300.
Ahmed Rosario's only getting better.
Yeah.
J.D. Davis only getting better.
Yep.
Michael Conforto only getting better. You see the trend? This team could do it in 2020.
They could. Well, we'll just have to see. It's going to be tough though, because not directly related to the Mets, but something that does affect them, the Braves. Just
Marcelo Zuna, Felix Hernandez.
Yeah. Just recently, within this last week, picked up Felix Hernandez and Marcelo Zuna,
They're so annoying.
as well as signing Cole Hamels earlier in the offseason.
I forgot about that.
Yes, they did lose Josh Donaldson,
Thank God.
but
Thank God that guy's gone.
But think about this. Think about Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna, Ozzy Albies, Marcelo Zuna.
That 1 through 4 is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you
it's scary.
cannot miss your spots to them.
No.
Steven Matz.
Yeah.
They always kill Steven Matz.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
so annoying. He can never pitch well against Atlanta. Never.
Never. So
Personally, I'd rather Jason Vargas than Steven Matz against the Braves.
So it's going to be tough, but with the core that they have, if guys can stay healthy,
They could compete.
and stay consistent, think about top of the lineup, McNeil and Rosario. Although a lot of people are saying Nimmo in the leadoff spot.
It's because he gets on base.
He does, but so does McNeil.
Yeah.
I like McNeil in the leadoff spot. Hit Rosario number 2 because McNeil's could hit 320. Rosario will hit 280, 290. There's your speed. Then bring in the big boys. Put Conforto 3, Alonso 4 just to get that left. J.D. Davis 5. He's a 300 hitter. Or even, you know what? No. What am I talking about? Cano 5. J.D. Davis 6.
And if J.D. Davis is your 6th hitter, that's a pretty good team.
Hitting 300.
Hitting 300.
Hit Nimmo 7.
And then
then the Buffalo.
Wilson
Ramos 8. And then pitcher spot.
Everything changes
If Cespedes is healthy.
if Cespedes is healthy or if they'll trade him.
Or the other thing is if they trade for Nolan Arenado.
Or if they trade for Starling Marte.
Or if they trade for Starling Marte.
We don't know how this team is going to look.
No.
Because Brody Van Wagenen, he's a clown, this guy. I'll tell you what.
On paper, he's making great moves, though.
I thought a really good move was J.D. Davis.
Yeah.
But the Keon Broxton move.
Oh, yeah, that
Like, come on,
went
Brody.
over like a lead balloon.
I mean, come on, Brody. But I think there's a trade in the works. There's something in the works. This team is not finalized just yet.
I don't think so, yeah, no.
Dom Smith is still on the Mets.
Yeah.
Brandon Nimmo's still on the Mets. Obviously, I don't think they'll trade JD, but
I hope they don't.
I hope they don't. But he's still here. The point is, somebody has got to go, right? You would think they're gonna.
Not Jeff McNeil.
I mean, Jeff.
Definitely.
That he might if they're looking at Nolan Arenado, as you just said, Jeff McNeil would definitely be in the deal, right?
I would hope not.
Who would? So if we're gonna make a like a rough draft, right? If the Mets, they get Nolan Arenado and maybe a minor leaguer, or maybe they just get Nolan Arenado.
Yeah.
Who would they giving up? Are they trading Syndergaard? Are they trading Dom Smith? Dom Smith would definitely be in the deal.
Yeah.
We can throw Dom Smith in there.
There would have
Brandon
to.
Nimmo?
Yeah, maybe.
And someone else, too, because that's not enough for Arenado, right? We're talking about a top 10 player in baseball.
Thinking Nimmo, Smith, prospect, and a couple of picks.
Brett Batty.
I hope not, though, because he's their third baseman of the future. They don't have the picks to give up. That's why I'd rather them not make a trade like that, because they're going to have to give up prospects that they don't have.
So I think what is going to happen, they're going to trade for Starling Marte. Somebody's going to be gone. Hopefully it's not Nimmo. Hopefully it's not J.D. Davis. I don't want to see anybody go.
Yeah.
I love this team's chemistry. I love them all together.
I do too.
But if you're trying to make a deal for Starling Marte, which I don't understand why.
Yeah, because he's like 33.
It's what they do.
Yeah.
It's what they do.
I don't think that'd be worth it.
He's past his prime, but the point is, if they're trying to get him, Brandon Nimmo, he's probably most likely gone.
Yeah.
Or Dom Smith would be the other casualty.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Let's move on because we talked about baseball for a very long time today.
40 minutes. Nice.
Let's do,
quick synopsis of
quick little recap of Jets Giants. Obviously, their seasons did not go well. We know that. Let's, for them, it's pretty much looking forward to the draft in April. We got the New York Giants set to pick number 4 overall. Obviously, we know the Giants need a lot. We've talked about their defense previously on the show before.
We
know they need defense, but
they're a mess.
They are. Looking at a mock draft for this year, WalterFootball.com site I like looking at. I think they're very good with their knowledge and the thing that they do with these mock drafts. They have the Giants selecting offensive tackle Andrew Thomas out of Georgia, which, you know what? For the Giants, not a sexy pick. I don't think the Giants need a sexy pick. The Giants need an offensive lineman because their offensive line was an absolute dumpster fire last year.
They literally set up Daniel Jones to fail. Last year. He didn't do a bad job.
No, not at all.
He didn't do a bad job.
Not at all.
You give him 5, 6, 7 more seconds in the pocket.
Give him 2 or 3 more seconds in the pocket. Come on. Give him any more time in the pocket. He'll
get it done.
He'll get it done. And
build that line, and that's what I think they'll do along with their secondary.
Yeah, because that's what their biggest needs.
Those are the New York Giants' weaknesses on defense.
Yeah, the secondary, and they need offensive linemen. And then New York Jets set to select number 11 overall, and this particular mock draft has them selecting Mekhi Becton, an offensive tackle out of Louisville. Another offensive lineman. I can't see any reason to agree with that, thinking about what the Jets' biggest needs are.
Listen, man, as a big Jet fan, Sam Darnold needs more time.
He does.
You give him protection. Same idea with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Because Sammy throws a nice ball.
He does.
He throws a good ball, and I'm telling you, if you just give him that time, I really think the Jets could compete.
Yeah, because they do have a mention here. Jets do need people to help Darnold. They do mention CeeDee Lamb, receiver, also talented left tackle Austin Jackson. I don't really like the receiver pick right now for the Jets with their first-round pick. I would go with the offensive lineman because, okay, is a number 1 stud wide receiver cool? Yeah. But if your quarterback doesn't have time to throw to him, it's not going to make any difference how good he is.
Right. It doesn't matter.
It's not going to matter. So I say go with the offensive lineman. Fix that first, then get your playmakers.
It all starts. A football team is kind of it's kind of like a pyramid, right? A pyramid scheme, or like a tree. It's built from the ground up.
Yep.
And it all starts with your quarterback and your line.
Yeah.
That's where the success starts.
Pretty much.
If you have weaknesses in the bottom of the tree, it'll never grow. It'll never nourish.
Yeah.
And both the Jets and the Giants have this problem.
And they need to fix them.
Bottom line.
That's it. All right. Moving on from that. The struggles. The struggles are real. NBA and NHL.
Wow.
We got the Knicks. Obviously, we know they're very deep in a rebuild. They weren't going to be good. But the Nets.
Horrible.
What's going? I don't know.
We We can talk about the Nets for like another hour, but we'll keep it short and sweet. This is not what I expected.
Not at all.
Not what I expected the slightest, Ryan. I'll tell you what. Kyrie Irving, I mean, granted, he just came back from an injury.
Pretty big injury.
And, LeVert, he's been hurt.
Yeah, he came back just recently, a couple weeks ago.
But I'll tell you what. I mean, I understand, D'Angelo Russell's not there anymore, obviously, as we know. He's with Golden State. But this team could still play. They're not. Joe Harris can still ball. Spencer Dinwiddie is the guy now, Like, he's the number one when all these guys are injured, know? So you have to think the morality and the chemistry, something's going wrong in the locker room.
Yeah.
Because it's translating to a lot of ugly losses on the court.
It is. A lot of fourth quarter blown leads. Mostly.
And, you have Kyrie Irving calling out guys and not so much calling out his teammates, but whenever they interview him, Kyrie is like the ringleader trying to bring everyone together. And maybe some of his teammates might not like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, obviously Kevin Durant's not there yet, technically. He's injured. Right. He's not going to be playing this year.
And we didn't expect a 60-win season from them, obviously.
But they're
falling out of the 8th seed.
They're 6 games under 500 right now. Falling out of the 8th seed in the East. The East.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Because this has been normalized by the media and by sports fans all across the United States. Do you believe that Kyrie Irving has slowly and gradually become a cancer in the locker room?
I sure hope not.
Because obviously you're not there.
I sure as hell hope not.
I'm not there. We can only speculate.
Yeah.
But from what people say about him, it's not good. I don't like what I hear about. Because listen, I want to see the Nets win. As a Knicks fan, there is no rivalry between the Knicks and the Nets.
There really isn't. No,
I don't.
There's really not.
There's Mets Yankees, different story.
Oh,
that's completely different. They play in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
My parents are from Brooklyn, man. I want to see the Nets win, and the fact that they're not only underachieving but just losing basketball in an ugly fashion. You just hate to see it.
Yeah.
How can they turn it around? What do you think? You're at a loss for words right now.
I am. I have absolutely no idea. What am I going to say? I don't know what's going on. I'm not there. All I know is, what's going on with the media. All the media people are saying this is what's going on with Kyrie. Do they even really know? Probably not. They aren't in the locker room, are they?
It's all just speculation. I mean, they are when they're interviewing the players sometimes,
but
before and after practice, but I get what you're saying. They're not always in there. They don't understand the camaraderie and the friendships among players. I think what they need to do, because Kyrie didn't play last night, right? Like, I got a notification on my phone that he was sitting out. The last game that Brooklyn played, that he wasn't.
Yeah, against Philly, I think it was, right? I don't remember now. But he had like a sore hamstring or something.
Listen, real quick, because we have to go on the hockey. You have to think that in a year from now, when Kevin Durant returns, that's when it's time for the Nets to be like, okay, they're gonna compete for a top spot in the East.
Yep.
But if Kyrie Irving isn't playing the way he should play, or if he's not even on the court, if he's injured, you have to think that the Nets are going to have to bring in somebody else. I'm not saying they have to bring in a superstar, but maybe like a Lou Williams.
Yeah,
like someone like a Jamal Crawford-esque kind of caliber player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone who could shoot the... Obviously, they have Joe Harris. Joe Harris is great. But the more the merrier at this point.
Yeah.
Because if 2021, right?
Yeah.
That's next season. That's when it's time for them.
Yep.
And they can't miss their window because Durant and Irving, they're only getting older.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Let's get on to hockey. And
Ryan is a dejected Nets fan right now.
And finish things up here. Not going too well. I mean, kind of on par for the Rangers, I think, for what was expected of them for this season. They got 50 points right now. They did lose to the Islanders. Was that last night, right?
Yes, last night.
But, I mean, for the most part, Rangers are playing about as expected. They've looked pretty good recently. Outside of last night was kind of a tough loss for them. But, I mean, for the most part, nobody was expecting them to make the playoffs. They're going to have a chance for what I was expecting of them. We had talked about this on one of our earlier episodes. I'm thinking maybe one of those 2 or 3 spots right outside the playoffs is where they're going to end up at the end of the season.
Way back when, in November.
Yeah.
We were talking about that.
And that's kind of what they're on pace for so far this year. But they're in their rebuilding mode. They're reaching the end of it, though. A lot of these young guys are starting to arrive. A lot of these young guys are performing pretty well this year. And it's really, I don't think it's this season, maybe not next season, but the year after that. Give it a couple more years, and I think that's when the Rangers, I don't know what they're going to do at the trade deadline this year. If they're not going to be buyers, that's a given. They're not, at this point, a playoff push is looking a little suspect.
How many games were they out of the wild card? They were 6 the other night when we were talking.
They're 6 or 8 points out right now. They have a couple games in hand on other teams, but
I mean, it's not far-fetched. It's plausible.
It is
for them to
but
potentially
it just
make
doesn't.
the postseason.
It doesn't 100% seem like there's
reality
enough. I did see this, enough urgency. I saw an article a quick article on Facebook earlier today. It doesn't seem like there's just enough, a high enough level of urgency in some areas. Because, yeah, they've had plenty of very good games. Artemi Panarin is looking like an MVP candidate. Mika Zibanejad's playing great. Chris Kreider's playing good. But there's just a few guys that are struggling a little bit and some things that are still kind of in the works. It's not completely far-fetched, but I think they're just one step lower than the playoffs right now. Because you still got a lot of young guys on defense. Although Jacob Trouba and Brady Shea have really turned their seasons around. Because earlier in the year they were struggling a little bit. But I was watching one of the games recently, and Sam Rosen and Joe Micheletti were talking about how they talked to Trouba and talked to Shea, and the two of them got together and really kind of revamped their game plan for this season, focusing more on defense and just letting the offense come when it comes, as opposed to trying to push on the offensive side and getting beat on the defensive side. And they've looked like one of the best defensive pairs in the league over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Jacob Trouba looks like the shutdown defenseman he was in Winnipeg. I'm loving that pair moving forward. You got 2 young guys, Ryan Lindgren, Adam Fox, are playing really well together. Adam Fox, I think, could be and probably should be, all right, maybe a little biased Rangers fan here, but should be at least a dark horse candidate for the Calder Trophy.
He could be in the discussion, definitely, no doubt about that.
Which, for people who might not entirely know hockey lingo, is Rookie of the Year. This is the Calder Trophy for the NHL. He's 6th in points. Last I had checked, like a week or 2 ago, he was 6th in points among NHL rookies this year. And every other rookie ahead of him were all forwards. He's a defenseman.
Right.
He's got more points than Jack Hughes,
and
number 1 overall pick.
And that speaks volumes in itself. You know, I think.
Along with playing amazing defense. Like, this kid's 21 years old.
He's quick.
This kid is so calm, so cool, under pressure, making good passes. All right, not 100% of the time, but 8 or 9 out of 10. He's making good passes,
Nice,
making
crisp
good plays,
passes.
making smart plays, not turning the puck over, not getting rattled by forecheck pressure, not, panicking, staying cool. For a 21-year-old in his rookie year.
No, he's going to have a
just
great career. There's no doubt about that. Barring any injuries, Fox is going to be phenomenal. And he already is, but
yeah,
you understand.
he's just going to keep getting better.
He's just getting started.
He's just getting started. He's going to get better. He's going to keep getting better. The only other, kind of thing is, I had mentioned this again earlier in one of our other episodes back in November. I hate to say this again, but I think it's about time for the Rangers to move on from Henrik Lundqvist.
Right, you said that the other night. And
It's
you're not the
just-
only Ranger fan that has said that to me, because Scott Rickey
Yeah.
has said something similar to me the other day. So
And I know there's a whole bunch of rumors about the Rangers, maybe trading Alexander Georgiev, who is currently their backup goalie. I don't think they should do it. I think they need to keep him because he's been playing very well outside of that loss last night against the Islanders, which he gave up a couple tough goals early. There was that first goal they scored last night that bounced off the leg of Ryan Lindgren, deflected in.
Deflected in.
It's going to happen. But the NHL is a young man's game nowadays. And Henrik Lundqvist just hasn't quite looked as good
as himself. I mean,
the last
how
couple
old is
years.
he,
He's
man?
36
Yeah,
or something, 37. I think although a lot of the rumors I've heard too, if the Rangers are going to trade Georgiev, they're asking for a lot. Like they're trying to make sure this is if they're going to trade him, it's going to be a blockbuster, and they are going to get a lot in return.
Draft picks on draft picks.
Yeah, which, you know what? I think they should keep him, go into next season with bright spots to look forward to, move ahead with Georgiev and the other kid, Igor Shesterkin, who's played a few games so far in the NHL and looked very good, I might add. He's 24 years old, finally came over from the KHL this year. He's played three or four games so far and looked really good. I'm talking, this kid could possibly turn out to be better than Henrik Lundqvist. Only because, for one reason, because Henrik Lundqvist, as great as he has been in his career, he does have one weak spot in his game. He is not very good at handling the puck, especially going behind the net. Henrik Lundqvist is not a puck handler.
Mobility has always been
and he
his
never really
downfall.
has been.
Yeah.
And he's never been a good puck handler. Shesterkin can handle that puck. I saw him make a save in his last start. I think it was one of the games against the Islanders where he poke checked the puck away from somebody with his stick, and it was probably one of the best saves I've seen in a long time. This was just his reaction time on this poke check was impeccable. His timing and his reaction on this save, poke checking that puck away from someone who I believe was wide open. I'm pretty sure the dude was in on a breakaway. And he just, the timing of it was just impeccable. And I feel like going forward, give this kid a little bit more time to acclimate to the U.S. ranks. I know they just sent him back down to Hartford today or yesterday. Give him a little bit more time to acclimate to the different rink size. I think this kid's going to be great going forward. But I think the Rangers are one step away from the playoffs this year. I don't know about this year, but next year I could probably see it.
So it's either they sneak in this year or they kind of like the Mets this year.
Yeah, either they sneak
miss by a
in
couple games,
or they miss by a couple games.
They're in the middle right now. They're the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Right? So the next few years, it's definitely looking like a bright future. if you
Yes.
will. They're going in the right direction.
They're going in the right direction.
Which, as a fan, is
great.
It's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
Because right now, in regards to the Nets, we don't know where they're going.
Yeah, pretty
So,
much. I have no idea.
At least for the Rangers, they're going in the right direction.
They're going in the right direction. And you can take the Islanders. Haven't been playing well as of late.
Well, as we know, they got off to that phenomenal start at the beginning of the year. They won 10, 11 games in a row.
Yeah.
They went on a run where they had, I don't know how many points it was, but they were literally picking up points day in and day out and just climbing up the schedule. They've cooled off now. This past week, it's been brutal to say the least. Not obviously they lost 2 games to the Rangers, but they lost a brutal game. I believe it was
to the Capitals.
To
they lost.
To Washington. You had a
gave up
4-3 lead with 3 minutes left, and you lose 6-4.
No, I think weren't they up like 4-0 going into the third?
It was 4-1.
Oh yeah, and they gave up 5 goals in the third period or something.
That is horrible. I mean, that is horrible.
Like, I know it is Washington. Washington has
great.
prolific scorers, but you give up 5 goals.
My thing is, the NHL season is a grind, just kind of like the NBA. It is a grind day in and day out, and you're not going to win 20 games in a row, 30 games in a row. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. The wear and tear on the bodies that these guys go through,
it's insane.
We'll never understand it.
Yeah.
We're not hockey players.
No.
However, when you allow 5 goals in the third period, that's just being lazy.
Yeah.
There's a difference between being beat or beating yourself.
Yeah.
And the Islanders have been beating themselves lately and making dumb mistakes on the power play and specifically on defense.
Yeah. Because you go into the third with a 4-1 lead and you
got to win that game.
You give that up. That's what they call taking your foot off the gas, sitting back.
And letting the other team run the table and shove their foot down your throat. That's what happened.
That's what's going to happen when you do stuff like that. I don't care if they had a 7-1 lead going into the third. You got to go in with the mindset like, all right, we're up 7-1 in the third right now. Let's win this game 9-1. That's the kind of mindset you have to go in with.
No mercy.
Or else you're going to give up that. Or else you go in 7-1. All right, let's just let's just coast, because it ain't gonna happen. Because all of a sudden, wait a minute, weren't we just winning 7-1? Why is it 7-6 right now? Exactly. We got to get going again.
Exactly.
It's hard to do that.
And it's hard to get going again.
Yeah.
To get your foot back on the metal. You can't take your foot off the gas.
You can't.
Bottom line, you can't, because
especially
once you do.
Especially against a team like Washington.
Against the team that won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
A couple years ago, but still.
I real quick, because, it's been an hour.
Yeah.
My last thing I'm going to say is these losses cannot turn into the norm of what this team is.
Mm-hmm.
Same, because those bad losses we experienced with the Mets last year, that was the identity of them.
Yeah.
That was the reason they didn't make the postseason.
Yep.
Okay? Now with the Isles, it can't turn into a dumpster fire. Like, we can't panic as fans, but something that needs to change. And they won against the Rangers last night, but we can't see losses like that, because it's bad for the locker room, it's bad for the fans, it's bad for the coaches. It's just all around ugly.
Yeah. Things break down in a hurry.
That's no bueno.
Yeah.
I understand hockey season's a grind, 82-game season. But there's still a lot of games to go, but still.
Yeah.
That can't happen.
Yeah, you can't let things fester.
And that is how I am going to end that.
And that is how we are going to end this episode. We will be back next week, catching you up on what's going on in the world of New York sports. As always, I'm Ryan Thompson.
I'm Joe Sapienza.
Joe Sapienza. We will see you all next time. Good night.